This is what I made for you this week, a cute little art supply store and the art store owner.
And now I'm going to show you how to make the cute little art supply store. That was the outside, this is the inside, and here is the little owner. If you're running low on printer ink, don't worry, I also have a black and white version, so you can just color it yourself, or maybe you just like to color and you prefer this one. It's easiest first if you score all the lines that you're going to fold before you cut. Easiest way I've found to make the score is use the dull side of a knife. If you don't have a knife, or if you're making this with your kids and you don't want them to use a knife, you can use a metal nail file. You could even use the edge of a paper clip. Just be careful with the paper clips. They typically have a coating that will make a gray line on your paper. You could use one of these doohickeys, or use the, retract the ballpoint and use the edge, or even the edge of a closed scissors. First, we're gonna line up the ruler with the score mark or folding line. Score it first. Then while the ruler is still in place, flip the knife around and cut the solid lines. Next, we're gonna score the door, then cut the other parts of the door. Then I just hand cut with the scissors. Well, I guess technically the other was hand cutting too. I did use my hands. I just use the scissors to cut the rest. I like to cut inside the cyan or blue dye line so that that blue doesn't show. And when you're done, super easy to fold. And this is what it should look like at this point. For the inside, let's score all the lines first before we cut. So while I am scoring and cutting, I'll tell you where I came up with the idea for these. When I was a kid, I had depression, but I didn't know what it was because I was too little to understand that. So what I would do is I would create these little worlds out of paper and cardboard and basically any trash I could find that could work and was sanitary, usually old cereal boxes, things like that. And I'd create these little worlds where no lack and poverty did not exist. And I would just let myself go off into imaginary land and all my problems would go away. And I realized that art is pretty therapeutic for me, and creating these own little worlds is still therapeutic for me. So I was hoping that maybe it would help you too. And I hear a lot of my friends, or just a lot of people saying, oh, I can't draw, I can't do that. Well, and then there's some people who maybe they could learn to draw, but they simply just don't want to. So what I wanted to do is make it as easy as possible for you to just be able to enjoy making these little fictitious worlds. And of course, you don't have to use a knife and ruler and all this. You can just cut it out with the scissors. It doesn't have to be perfect. In fact, it shouldn't be perfect, because if you're striving perfection, you're going to be disappointed. And this is supposed to be fun. I think I was in about 3rd grade when I realized that, or found out that adults do not get the summers off from work. And I remember that I couldn't believe that. I'm like, what? Now, why I didn't realize that before, I don't know. I guess when you're at school, you don't really think of what your parents are doing, but I just remember thinking about that and like, how do people do it? Because all I ever saw was my parents working extremely hard with very little in return except exhaustion and never enough to pay the bills. So I just thought, well, that must be adult life. you pretty much suffer every day for a little bit of money. But then, as I grew older, I realized, yeah, it doesn't have to be that way. And my parents taught me that too. When I was little, they said, you know, well, if this isn't for you, what we're doing, they said, you can always start your own business. They said, just be sure that whatever you do, it's something you love. So I'm creating these little worlds to remind everybody or inform everybody that you don't have to stick to the typical norm. So this is an art supply store that one of my Dimple Dollies owns. Because she is an artist and she doesn't want to be in an office all day. If you like being in an office all day, hey, that's awesome. That's great. But she just wants to create art all day. She spray painted this. This is the testing wall, as you can see. I just had so much fun making this for you. I had fun making it for me, and I had fun making it for you because my hope is that this will give you a little distraction from life's worries, and you can just imagine yourself, you know, wherever you're at, just get away from the world for a little bit. But I nicknamed these girls Dimple Dollies. There's their little dimples, because I have dimples. And each one, I resonate with a little part of each one. For instance, so she has heart dimples, and I was thinking, oh, maybe her name could be Love. But I don't know, I didn't really like that name. So I decided her name is Cardi AC. Not Cardi B, whoever that is. I know, I should know who that is. I just keep hearing that name. But she's Cardi AC, because you put it together and you have a heart. And the reason I resonate with Cardi AC is because she loves art, and pretty much all she wants to do is create art all day. But sometimes you can't always make money on your art, and also a lot of times the minute you have to make money with your art, it's no longer fun and too much pressure. So she started an art supply store so that after her hard work of starting it, she could hire employees, and when profits went up, then she doesn't really have to do much because she can afford to pay really good managers. And then her job is to create the art samples from all the art supplies. So I drew her with a bubble skirt. Those were super popular in the 80s when I was in middle school. I'm more of a tomboy, so I gave her boots, but I remember I wanted a bubble skirt so bad. Of course, because everybody else had one. Now I'm like the opposite. I wear, you know, like this is a men's large t-shirt. I wear what's comfortable. But she's got her little sketchbook and her pencil. I was always drawing wherever I went. I also love rainbows, so all my Dimple Dollies have rainbow eyes. This is what it should look like so far. We're just gonna tape that flap over there. When I was at the store with my mom, we were looking for a book for a toddler, or not a toddler, for a baby shower. And it's one of those books that has the flaps that opens. And it said on the back of it, over 50 fun flaps. My mom, she says, oh, that's what these fat rolls are on my side. She goes, they're not fat rolls, they're fun flaps. It made me laugh so hard. So wait, what was my point? Oh, that's right, I said this flap. It reminded me of that story. Now when you set this up, that just flops down. So my solution for that is cut a little strip of paper and then fold it in half. Maybe about that size. How's that for precision? About that size. And then we're going to tape it to the top. The top of the store, just like this. Then we'll get some Velcro. Okay, I thought I'd take you along with me so you can see my messy drawers. I love these cabinets though. Let's see, we have, where's the Velcro I already used? I don't know, we'll just start, oh, here it is. No, it's not, whatever. We'll start a new one. So we take some Velcro. This is the self-adhesive Velcro. I wanted to use magnets, but I couldn't find any white magnets and it just kind of stuck out like a magnet. So I decided to go with the Velcro. Then I chop that extra off. That is very sticky. Then just let it down like that. Press that on there and boom, problem solved. So you can have it stay up when you want. Cartier C is next. We're gonna score all these lines. And throughout the series of my videos, I'm going to introduce you to more of my dimple dollies. And each one of them obviously has different traits. They're all very different, but at the same time, they're all very much the same desires, which is to just be able to do what they want every day. Now, when I say what they want every day, I don't mean like, you know, running around careless. I just mean to do their passion, what they're good at, what they were born to do, basically. Then for Cardi, this will make sense in a second. Actually, it'll make sense right now. I'll show you a finished one. Oh, yeah, she looks different. So I did have the cute little Band-Aid over her nose because that's like a cute Decora type style. And then her eyes were different. They were like a green. But then I decided I wanted all the dimple dollies to have rainbow eyes because I loved rainbows so much as a kid, and I still do. But anyway, back to the point, I digress. This is the stand, and I've noticed it's, for being just paper or cardstock, it's pretty sturdy, so this is how I make it. But I'll be introducing more dimple dollies and their names and characteristics and what businesses they own. And it's just kind of fun to sometimes live vicariously through them, but at the same time, to remind myself that it's possible, because my younger self, I always forced myself to do things that I hated just because I thought that's what was required in society to make it. And where I got that idea, I don't know, but it certainly was a lie. See how easy that is to fold once you score. Put a little double stick tape. Remember, double stick tape is your friend. Perfect. Oh wait, you know what? No, not perfect. Here's something to avoid. I didn't pull it up high enough. If you do that, she's gonna flop forward. Just make sure the bottom is perpendicular to her. Something about that word, perpendicular. Next time you're sad, say perpendicular. And there we have I still didn't fix it. Okay, hang on. This is good though, because then you can see that things don't always work, even for the person who created the craft. Okay, start over. And there we have the finished craft with Cardi AC's art supply store. Maybe a little store, but it has big profits. You also may be wondering, why didn't I extend the floor out to this side? Well, I did that on some other ones, but it was overwhelming, and it kind of took away from the art inside. Also, it's kind of a lot of ink, and then you'd have to flip the page over and have it print that side too. And I just kind of wanted it to be simple, where all you have to do is just print 2 pages. Well, 3 for her, but she doesn't take up much ink. I have more stuff for you too. If that house is too complicated, I mean, I know you're capable, obviously, but after a hard day's work, maybe you just don't feel like doing all that. I made this coloring sheet for you. So sometimes you just want to chill and color, you know, with no folding, cutting, etc. And then here is an 8 by 10 outline in light gray. So after you're done coloring, if you wanted to frame it, you could show off your coloring job. I also have a light gray version. So if you trace over it and then color it, it'll look like you drew the whole thing versus just a coloring page. So I thought that could be kind of fun too. And I have more stuff for you. 1 second. It's time for Random Art of the Week. Are you suffering from art block? So this little guy does not have the typical big eyes that I usually draw, that you see on my background. But sometimes I get tired of drawing the same thing. So you just got to let yourself draw randomly whatever you feel like drawing at the time. It doesn't always have to fit something or fit into something. And in fact, I don't think art should ever have to fit into anything unless you're doing it commercially. When I started drawing this, I knew I wanted a cute animal wearing 3D glasses and watching an old-fashioned TV, but at this point, I wasn't sure what animal yet, and I couldn't figure it out, so I just drew a little circle for the head. There's my old-fashioned TV. Get my color palette going here. And then I was trying to figure out, like, what can I do to tie these 2 elements together? So I put like a abstract rug and a abstract partial wall in the back. Didn't really like that too much, so I changed it later. For the couch, I wanted the little hearts on the side of the armrest. And then I experimented there with some blues behind the purple to try to get two-tone. You can barely see it, but I guess I kind of like it. Just putting the buttons in there. And then at this point, I decided I wanted an otter. I tried different eyes because I wasn't going to restrict myself to those big eyes. I tried more of the fuzzy little snout. I didn't like those glasses. They didn't look like 3D glasses, but I didn't know why. So I looked at some online, and then that's when I realized they're like thinner. So I liked those glasses better. Still, I like to experiment with different eyes and noses just to see how it changes. That's the cool thing about digital art, of course. So just finalizing his little face, settled on that, put the glasses back on him, changed the color of the rug. I decided to just have a 3-color palette, virtually, the pink, the purple, and the turquoise. Then I redid the arms. I'm not one of those artists that can just sketch out shapes and then draw it perfectly. As you can see from the replay of my drawing, I do struggle. And that's because I need to practice more. I should probably take some online classes too. But I guess the reason I like to show this is, just because you're not as good as somebody else doesn't mean that you can't still have fun. There's the final printed drawing, and I made it black and white so you can download it for free and color it. When I say for free, it's free as of the day that I posted this. My dream is to keep all my digital products free and then just to sell physical things in the future. I don't have anything for sale on my website right now, but I just can't always guarantee what the future holds. But my goal is to keep all this stuff free for you. It's free today. And then this is the gray version. So if you wanted to trace, sometimes it's just fun to trace because it gives you the feeling of drawing and you don't have to think and you can just relax and have fun and have your expectations fulfilled that you know what your drawing is going to turn out to look like. Now for the next project, I can't remember if I showed you this last week or not, but what I want is I want this whole wall to be covered with frames and also shelves within the frames. But I drew this in Procreate. I use Adobe Fresco now, but I drew this in Procreate. And because it's so large, I had Office Depot print it for me. And then I just mounted it onto foam board and then made the shelves out of foam board. And I put that 3M command strips back there. This has been up for over a year, has never fallen down. Now, obviously, you're not gonna be able to put real heavy things on here because it's foam board, but little toys like this, I love toys, if you can't tell. And well, there's my Darth Vader fan art. But anyway, when I made the practice mock-up of that in a small size, I think it looks great. However, when you start putting things in it, all those things get lost because it's just that background's way too busy. And then I also thought, well, this looks weird without the pattern on it. So I added the pattern to the little one. And like I say, it looks great on its own, but when you put things in it, it does not look good. There's the one for a smaller one underneath. So then my boyfriend had a great idea. He said, what if you switch it and make it the background black? So I did that with this one, because this one's gonna go here because I want it to be a rainbow. So all the turquoise will flow out here, the blue will flow out to the left and so on. So I made this one with the black pattern and I thought, yeah, that definitely looks better. My friend made this plushie for me. Isn't that cool? But so I thought, yeah, that does look a lot better. But then I thought, well, maybe the backgrounds could vary. Like this could be, the background could be pink based on his nose. But then the problem with that is, then my idea of the rainbow, it's not gonna look as rainbowish. It's just gonna look like colors scattered everywhere. So should I just leave the inside background plain white? But I kind of think because my wall is white, and it's actually more of a light gray or light taupe, I can't even tell which. This isn't finished, obviously, that's why it's falling apart. I haven't taped it together. But I thought the black does look kind of cool because I'm gonna have white walls around it. I don't know. I guess one way to find out is to test it, but that's a lot of ink and a lot of foam. So are there any interior designers out there? I'm not good at environmental graphics or large format graphics. So if there's any designers out there that could tell me what they think the best would be, I would love to hear it. When I started this, I had to take a picture of the wall and then sketch it out. Because like I say, my brain does not work well for large format graphics. I like to stay within like 8.5 by 11. You know what's funny? I was looking for my sketch that I was just telling you about and I found this photo. It's over a year old. And I thought, I don't remember making it black. Then I remembered what I had done. If you look closely, I just printed out some black patterned paper and then put it in there temporarily. But I think the black looks way better. I don't know. Let me know what you think. Definitely should get rid of the black and white pattern background. But then my question is, should it be black or plain white? I forgot about this too. This is the fun thing about going through old files. So this was my first idea, to get this foam from Home Depot and then make the frame out of this. And of course, in my mind, everything looked perfect and amazing. But you will see my Pinterest fail So I was just, what was I using? I was using just a regular blade. And I got this part cut out and started kind of carving it. Oh my gosh, what an absolute pigsty. And look at, look at how terrible that looks. Oh my gosh. Granted, yeah, I didn't really have the right tools, but also, yeah, the sculpture, not for me. All right, I found my sketch. So I took a picture and this is what I was thinking. So this will be turquoise, then the green extends from there, the yellow and so on. I thought, man, that could be a really cool, colorful background. Now, obviously, that's gonna be a ton of work. It'll be fun, but it'll be a ton of work, which I think is why I've been putting it off for so long, is because I guess now I know that background is not gonna work. But now I'm wondering, well, should I do a white background or a black one? Because what I don't want to do is have to redo all of it. And I think if my wall was like complete white, then the white background would look okay. I think what could look really cool is if I got those removable decals, like a wallpaper that's like a solid, maybe light pink or something, to put in the background. But the problem with that is, look at my walls, they're textured, so those decals are not going to work, and I really don't want to paint the wall. So please tell me your thoughts on this. I need all the help I can get. But now it is time for you to get a sneak peek at the crafts next week. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Whether you come back or you don't, I hope you have an amazing week.